Welcome, one and all, to World Tonger Federation News, your quantum multidimensional one-stop shop for all things Tongerverse. What is Tonger, you ask? The better question is, what isn't Tonger? It starts with a simple pair of kitchen tongs and your favorite playlist, and ends in curing all that ails you. Don't believe us? Tune in and find out for yourself.
And we're live.
Welcome, everyone, to World Tonger Federation News and Gossip, our long-standing podcast. This is the pilot episode. I am so excited to be here.
And I am so excited to not be here. This is a body double for Geoff 𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓲 standing in. I don't know where he is. I don't want to know where he is, frankly. That guy's been getting on my nerves for the past couple of months. I know he's been rubbing Haleigh the wrong way.
You know what? I think that my doppelganger self, my teen angst doppelganger self, also needs to just like bugger off for a hot second. So I think it's appropriate for them to just like take a vacation to Tahiti or something. I don't know where they need to go, but chill out.
It's time, isn't it? I feel like it's time.
I feel like it's been
what are you
time.
drinking today?
Okay, listen, I am one of those psychotic people who has 4 beverages at my disposal at any given moment. Is that an author thing? Is that a writer thing? I have
It's a writer
coffee.
thing. You had
I'm
me
like,
at psychotic people. You had me at
fantastic.
psychotic people.
Let me tell you
Yeah.
what, I need to lean into my psychosis just a little bit more every day, I think. That is where I think the sweet spot is.
Well, I
And
think
then
you're
I
in the
have
right place.
my liquid death because I love my little bury it alive. And then I have another bubbly water back there. I like the fizzy things. I'm a fizzy kind of person.
Fizzy Bubelech. That was from that movie with Adam Sandler. That was horrible. Remember that one?
Remember that one? That you're gonna have to be slightly more specific than that because I gotta tell you, like, I am only old school Adam Sandler. I'm sorry. Like, once you get past like the Billy Madison and the like Happy Gilmore, I'm kind of just like 51st States. No, thank you. I don't. Adult Adam Sandler is just not enough trouble for me.
Every Adam Sandler movie is the same exact movie where it's a grown man pretending he's an 8-year-old with special needs. And I got to tell you,
This
it's
is an
really something.
accurate. This is an accurate statement. How do I find a way? What's my version of that? How do I get to be just a psychotic person in movies and that's just who I am? And that's what I get paid to do.
I think
Universe, make it so.
anybody in the comments, help out. I got nothing. But we're here today to kick off the Tongerian Empire. Is that about right? Or do we even have
Tongerian.
Tongerian Empire?
I enjoy that very much, actually. I think that's appropriate. Because the first Sioux Falls team, the 9 Black Goats, consisting of my 2 younger sisters, they are 2 of the 9 Black Goats. The other 7 are me and my multiple personalities, right? And we come from, the Germans from Russia sort of background. So I think Tongerian sounds appropriate. There should be some kind of a dragon somehow incorporated with these goats. I don't know how, but we're gonna work it out.
You're the 𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓲, if I'm not mistaken, from my history, from my no, that's just it.
Volga?
Literally from my history. You're the 𝓕𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓭𝓪. Like so, the Volga Germans, the people who ended up, way the hell out east and got repatriated. It was a whole thing. I think you're the Volga Tongerian. So you were playing Tonger. And by the way, we just got to say real quick for those who are uninitiated into what Tonger is.
Uninitiated, yes.
First question you're all having, like, what? First of all, why are these 2 maniacs on about this thing we don't know about? This, right?
Oh, and you have a tongs too.
Of
Look at.
course, right?
Can we?
Of
We're
course.
gonna also have to have a feud a little bit because I think you say tong and I put an S on it and I say tongs. So we're gonna have to. There's gonna have to be a feud in the comments among the fandom also as to how you call your instrument of flinging the little. I want to say rubber balls. That's not it. Plastic balls.
They are plastic, and there's a reason that I personally advocated very strongly for keeping South Dakota out of the union because you call it tongs, and
Excuse me.
same.
Can I just say too for a hot second that you said Volga and my brain said like that's a pretty deep cut on South Dakota knowledge if you know that because there's a town called Volga in South Dakota. You can't possibly know Volga, South Dakota. Nope, that was not it. I was like, no, there's a reason I thought that didn't match up because it didn't. Whoops. But there it is. Maybe secretly you did know.
I'll be dropping South Dakota knowledge left and right today. It's going to just straight up blow your mind.
I
So,
can't wait for the documentary information about Mount Rushmore. Can we please?
oh no, we're not talking Mount Rushmore here. We're not doing Mount Rushmore. We're talking like Vermilion level knowledge.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh
Oh, how
yeah.
fantastic. That's
Oh yeah.
very exciting.
Isn't it though? This is
Let's
this is good
okay.
stuff.
Yankton, what's the pizza place though? Oh, in Yankton that's got that pizza that is themed after Seinfeld something. Oh, my brain's not gonna remember it because I like to have little strokes and lose information like that, but it'll come to me in the shower someday.
Yes, and speaking of little strokes, what a great segue. What a
I
fantastic segue.
I'm so happy to help.
That's just
That
wonderful.
that's what all my synapses misfiring are for, so that I can assist in the segues.
Why do we have synapses if they're not to misfire and just find a way to work in mini strokes as great segues? I mean, what's the
I
point otherwise? What do we
what
be
is
doing
the
around?
point? I mean, come on, Millennium Run. There's a way that we can have all these infinite points connect together.
There really is. So for the uninitiated out there, and you're only gonna be uninitiated for the next like 5 seconds, and then you're gonna know what this is all about. Tonger is a sport where you use these kitchen tongs that you would normally have for a steak or something else, which I can't discuss without being canceled. But what you basically do is you take one of those tiny little plastic balls over there that's stuck to the dartboard. You take it, you run up. Somebody plays music to distract you. If you drop the ball, you lose. That sucks. But if you don't drop the ball, you throw it, hits the board, you score. And the best part about it is the music keeps going until the next person comes up and you change the music again. If the ball drops, you lose. But here's the fun part of Tonger: you can't lose. By playing, you win. This is not like some trophy millennial thing.
Trophy
Everybody went,
Millennium.
and we'll get into that. We will get into that. Why
Yes,
everybody
no, please,
actually
can
finds a way
we?
to win. Yes.
I love it because, I mean, was it sad the day that I realized I was a millennial? Yes, it was, but that's okay. Please do continue, and I really would like there's a part of me that wishes that we, like, had a live studio, like, where I could be, like, sitting and tossing some balls at that little thing while you're, like, giving the little instructions, we need, like, a Vanna White sort of, like, demonstration kinda thing going on.
I think Vanna White right now is too busy with the applesauce to worry about the rest of this right now. I think it's her feeding hour, but no,
Oh,
that's a
that's
terrible ageist joke, and it's not funny. But Vanna White was a dear childhood hero. She was, and she
I
still is.
mean,
Like
she's brilliant, yeah.
the silhouette of Vanna White that's still like showing up to the studio is awesome, and I support it. And frankly, I think Betty White should have been turning it all these years. That's just me.
Oh, how good would Betty White be making jokes every time somebody picked a letter? Oh, would have loved. Would have. Can we please, Betty White, seventh dimensional you, show up to a Tonger tournament, please, and make ridiculous, wonderful commentary? We would enjoy it.
Okay, who do you think the best Tonger player of the Golden Girls would have been? Like, just straight up.
The
Who would
best
have been?
Tonger play, like obvious. Oh, B. Arthur.
Sophia. No,
Like
Sophia was yeah, no,
she's just
yeah.
you got the right she's got the right sort of, like, sarcastic attitude, I think, to be able to just, like, keep a good grip on that no matter what kinda crazy metal music you start playing while she's trying to dance on up, like, you can't throw her off her chi, I don't think.
Unless you play the theme from Golden Girls while she's up there.
In
No,
which case, that
that's
is a potential yes, but, like, I mean, that'd be like replaying, like, the same oh, what's that joke that I'm thinking of from who's his name, comedian who just came back from rehab? I love the way my brain works, and I put that together. John Mulaney, there it is.
well, that just narrows it down. The comedian who came back from rehab. That's just oh,
Sorry.
the one you mean, right? The one
I
comedian who
think
came back from
do
rehab.
you wanna know what? I think I just, like, must have I think I just somehow accidentally put out into the universe that I become a stand-up comedian who goes into rehab by just making that awful, like, little yeah, I think that's what I just did. So, karma is already there and in place, everyone, don't worry about it.
Gotta tell you, it's a highly underrated experience. It really is. You haven't done it.
If you haven't been to rehab yet, you must try it. Amy Winehouse avoiding it was like, "Come on, girl, you coulda had a party time. It would've been fun."
As a comedian, like to go into rehab as a normie, I think that you could take it or leave it. But to go into rehab as a comedian, now we're talking a different level of experience entirely. Because every single moment in there, you've got material, and it's just coming at you left and right from the orderlies who are just throwing people around. Everybody else is going through the multiple personalities to the whole. I tried to take myself out, but I couldn't do it. And here I am, but I'm going to try again. But maybe I won't. Then it becomes like a Jackie Mason routine. But maybe I do a little bit of this, and maybe I take a little bit of this, and this, here, and it becomes a whole thing. And it's awesome. And it's awesome. So,
Do you want
friends,
to
I'm
know
just
what?
saying,
I have honestly have had those adulting kind of days though, where sometimes I think being institutionalized for a hot month would be a lovely experience too. Just to like not have to cook for myself for a month and, do some like arts and crafts in the morning and some water aerobics in the afternoon, you know? Like I would be down for it. I'd be okay with it. Like let me just like take a little vacation. I don't know where I would get the cash or what sort of problem I need to develop to go into rehab for, but I would very much like that little sort of resort vacation where I just get to be in a robe and considered like a little bit delicate for a while.
I respect that. And I think my friend, I think I have a path for you.
Do
You
we?
ready?
I'm so
You ready?
excited.
I do. Tonger addiction.
A Tonger addiction. Oh, can that be the new, like, the thing that all the celebrities are going into rehab for? They have a Tonger addiction and they have to go to rehab for it. And the only much like cowbell, the only prescription for a Tonger addiction is more Tonger.
That's it. That's the only way out. The only
That's
way out is through.
that's right. So you
That's
absolutely
it.
just have to play more Tonger to cure your addiction. That's the only way to do it.
It's an infinite Tonger regress. You know what happens? You get sucked into the multidimensional vortex. Okay, now we're going to start this part of it,
No,
where
yes,
you
let's
have
do.
to live the life of every entity that ever played Tonger, ever.
Okay,
That's
but
the
here
only way out.
This I love that so very much, that is beautiful, and I'm already doing it by playing 7 of the characters on the 9 black goats, but here is my question. So, what in the Tongerverse, right? I Tongerverse, that needs to be a shirt that we create, right?
All
The
right.
just big galaxy Tongerverse. So, me and my multiple characters that I am, Frankie is one of them, obviously, right? Can we can you play on multiple Tonger teams, so long as you do not duplicate personas?
Hmm.
Do we see what I'm
Or
so like so for example, I of the 9 black goats, one of my, multiple versions of Abernathy Franklin who I get to be Franny Lynn, for example. Let's say she decides to jump ship. So I still play for the 9 black goats as 6 of them, but one of my personalities goes off and has decided to play, with okay, and then here we go. What's that? The car dealership team, the team that is made of all of those inflatable men with the floopity arms, right, from the
oh
car
yeah,
dealerships, and they've all
they
been
finished third last year
yes,
in the
they
Iowa State
did.
Championships.
And they
Yeah.
are all imbued with the consciousness of people who have committed very stupid crimes against humanity, like wearing shorts in below freezing weather. Like,
What's that all about?
who are you trying to impress?
What is that? What is that phenomenon? I don't get it, and I see it everywhere. What's going on there?
I don't know, but we lost all of the ape hair for a reason because we decided that these clothing things would be sufficient and we didn't need it anymore. Like, why are you trying to go backwards?
You haven't seen some of my friends if you think we lost the ape hair, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Are they gonna be like the Sasquatch team from I where would they be from? They have to be somewhere in the Pacific North. Gray Harbor, Washington. The Gray Harbor, Washington Sasquatches.
Is that a place?
It is a place.
That's a place.
I mean, I think it's a place,
Ooh,
and I'm
okay.
pretty sure near there is a town called Aberdeen, and there's also an Aberdeen, South Dakota. So we have a little kind of like mini feud going on over which Aberdeen is the better Aberdeen.
I think they have the better Aberdeen. I hate to bust. I hate to be that guy. I do. I
Just
don't want you. You
because
don't want to
they're
insult
close
the
to a
co-host here, but I mean, real
a
talk.
bay next to the ocean and have milder temperatures. I mean, come on. There's something that's a little bit fun about a -40-degree wind chill and a blizzard in May, isn't there?
There really is. I'm going to experience it firsthand in July when we have a blizzard for the World Tonger Championships in the beautiful city of Sioux Falls.
No, you be careful because, like, anything is possible in the global warming day and age, obviously, but especially in South Dakota. Don't careful what you say because there could be a blizzard on the World Tonger Sioux Falls Championship, like regional championships that we will have.
Calling it in. Calling it in. It's
They
happening.
so you're gonna have to be wearing some like you're gonna have to dress up like you belong in an 80s movie doing like this ski slope stuff, right? You're gonna need the goggles and you're gonna need the big ridiculous get up, the onesie suit, right? To be able to you're gonna need some kind of like oxygen mask because let me tell you what, when you get that nasty wind chill. You need a little bit of extra something.
You do. Now, is that a Ski Patrol reference? Because if so,
I
that
okay.
I'm
Whenever I think about ridiculous, I honestly think Hot Tub Time Machine
mhm.
and the episode of South Park where they go to Aspen because of the timeshare thing that they get roped into. And those are the things that my brain goes to immediately first. But Ski Patrol is there you go, is also gets to be in there.
It's Police Academy on the slopes.
I love police academies so much, and I don't understand
Yeah.
why there aren't more people who are voice actors in Hollywood that can make ridiculous Foley sounds with their mouth. Like, I'm a little bit sad about it's kind of the CGI thing, right? Like, everything becomes computerized and sort of uniform, and man, where are the people who can do that natural like
Can we just say the greatest Tonger player from the '80s
from
by
the
far was Mr. Zed, because he would scream the balls into the target, like, just scream them into the target. Now,
Yeah.
Tackleberry would shoot the target, like, blow a 5-foot hole through and, like, destroy the board and the game's over, so that sucked, but
Oh, do you know what? Sorry, you just said that and it made my brain bounce to, like, another, like, crazy that I do love and enjoy so much from Broken Lizard Productions, the Super Trooper Mac, right? Who is that one is one of my favorites. I think he is definitely, like, at least a backup persona player for the Police Academy team. I think
has to
that
be.
yeah. He just kinda bops in and out when he's, when his psychosis is to a low enough level that he can focus enough on Tonger, right?
Absolutely. Now, if you had to go Tonger's double tournament, because, we do singles, we do doubles, we do teams of 5 or 6, it's like it's half monogamy, half swingerish, depending on who you talk to, and that's fine. We're Tonger is a very open ecosystem here.
As long as
But
everybody consents to whatever it is and everyone's
yeah,
happy, that's all that matters.
all that matters. Now, if you had
That's
to pick
all we care.
one, if you had to partner up with a Tonger player from the Police Academy set, and it was like one person could be a ride or die Tongerian for a tournament in some back alley in Oklahoma in 1988, who are you going with?
Back alley in Oklahoma in ni so no, see, listen, if you're in a back alley in Oklahoma in 1988, you need Big Earn to be hanging out with you, and you need to just make sure that you're watching him the entire time, right? Don't leave his
Yeah, you do.
side because he's a sneaky little bugger, but that is who your ride or die is because you know he's gonna get you to where you need to go by any means necessary.
You might lose a hand in the process,
You know what? Just keep your digits to yourself when you're in his proximity, and everything will be fine.
but it works out, right? Because the quantum field will reorganize itself to still get you to Reno, to still compete for the $1,000,000, to put that rubber hand on.
It absolutely will, and you might get muncened along the way a couple of times because don't we all? That's part of the experience, and we're getting used to dealing with that,
You might
right?
get months and you might have a Miss Claudia situation.
You might. It can happen. Oh, Miss Claudia. I do
Miss
love Miss
Claudia.
Claudia.
I
Who
do
doesn't
too.
love Miss Claudia? I
True
mean, come
redemption arc.
on. Right? I
She went a
think
long
so.
way, right?
She absolutely did, and good for her. I
I feel
love
like
it.
she was a hero of the entire story.
I think that's appropriate because, without her as sort of like the muse to drive it all, it could have fallen apart very easily well before the 3rd act.
I mean, think about all these guys together. Neither one of them could find their way outside of a paper bag. But yeah, Miss Claudia, as usual, to get these men's head straight, to get them focused, to get them directed, to turn one against the other. It was beautiful. Just
I mean,
beautiful.
listen, she should have been friends with oh, you know what? Miss Claudia is on a Tonger team with oh, I can't remember her name from The Ice Harvest. Oh, what's her name?
Ice Harvest.
The Ice Harvest. Oh my god, with John Cusack and Billy Bob Thornton. Oh, some of my very favorites in the world, and, Oliver Platt. Oh, love him.
Okay, I know now we've crossed over because
Oh,
this
no,
Ice Harvest situation, it doesn't exist in my, like, awareness. It doesn't exist in my reality. It's not a thing. It never
okay, well,
happened.
you need to join me on my timeline where you know the Ice Harvest, because that team, I think, they have yes, that would be a great team, the Ice Harvest men's team, but I think Miss Claudia and w God, I can't remember her name. I will, it'll come again, it'll all come to me in the shower, and we'll bring it up on the next Tonger news, or people in the chat can, scream at me because they know, and that's just fine too, I have no problems with that. But you do absolutely need
That's
to watch
fine
Ice
to encourage
Harvest.
that.
We do encourage that,
Doesn't exist.
participation is encouraged.
Yeah, I mean, you're all Tongerians in some timeline, so we're now pulling you all in to be a Tongerian with us
Yes,
in this timeline
this is
because we love you.
that's right. This is the creation of the vortex for where we draw them all in. Oh, I love
Absolutely.
that so very much. We need to like create some merch where there's like a Tonger board that looks like a vortex somehow. We got to work that
Yes,
out. There's a very sort of like Twister movie post or something hidden in there that is brilliant that we need to figure out.
I think so. And this is ultimately, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is where quantum physics meets a bar game. This is the next This is where it comes together right here. And this is where it explodes. This becomes its own singularity and births its own universe.
I absolutely love it, which means fantastically that the Tongerverse exists on the backside of a black hole, which is how we also gather up so many wonderful teams is that we just draw them in from that gravity and just spit them out into the Tongerverse, and it becomes a wonderful, beautiful thing. Oh, how lovely.
Isn't that great? And I think of black hole, I think of old coworkers of mine who would just ramble on and on about the kind of work they had. And like that was its own black hole. And I realized once I got to the other side of that, a new universe was going to be born, a new singularity was going to emerge from that. Because once I emerged from that vortex on the other side, like it just rearranged itself and just exploded again. Like, this is great. This is
No,
great.
I love that because I can't tell you the number of times that I have just, been in cubicle spaces where or even just even social sort of events where I just sort of listen and think, "This is what you talk about all day? This is what this is the
Yeah.
most interesting topic of conversation we can all come up with. Can I please ask if anyone here has ever seen a UFO cryptid or a ghost? Because anything interesting, can we please? I it's fine. I don't you know what? If you wanna talk about whatever, your kids' football games are great to you, and that is fine and fabulous and wonderful, and whatever, new rules at work that are so dumb you can't deal with it, I understand. I feel that pain, I do. But the solution for that is to talk about Tonger. Mhm.
It is. And on that note, friends, this is the self-help part
Ooh,
of the show.
oh, how fun.
All right. This is
Self-help
exciting. And this is
segment.
LinkedIn, right? So if we're gonna be streaming on LinkedIn here, we gotta do the
We
self-help
gotta
part
have
of it because of course. So anybody out there, and I'm talking to you, looking right at the camera right now, like I'm talking to you. That was
I'm go
aggressive. Now I'm just talking.
No, oh, sorry, I was aggressive too. I was doing the, like, broken AI robot who's about to, like, turn murderous eyeballs. That's because I enjoy that quite a lot, so
it's a fun robot. It
yeah,
really is.
right? Get used
It
to
really
it.
is.
I was rooting for Megan in that movie, I really was. Sorry,
All right, who
y'all.
wasn't, frankly? But
Really? I mean, come on. Anyway.
it's just where it is. My friends, if you find yourself in a situation where you are being cornered by that coworker or that person who's talking about something you just cannot listen to for one more second, you have a way out of it. There's a way out, and it starts here. It starts with a pair of kitchen tongs. Now, here's what happens. Okay. You take the tongs. Now, we're not going to do the Instagram thing. We're not going to have you do mantras. We're not going to have you do chanting. We're not going to have you do affirmations. There's no need for any of that because that implies that you're not already whole and you're not already perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed this very much conversation. Also, I need for us to start marketing some miniature tongs that you can keep in your pocket with some like miniature like little tonger balls so that you can just kind of like also fling them at said coworker as a like entertain yourself kind of thing. And if they are wearing an ugly Christmas sweater at a Christmas party, oh my gosh, how much fun is that going to be for you? I can't wait for this new line of like miniature tonger tool sets that everyone can take to work with them for when you become very bored. But I do
It
also
will happen.
absolutely agree with the spiritual points element that you're coming up with here. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. This is it. See, you got to lean into it. Just lean in. So when you have these, you, my friend, have the power of the tonger in
You
your
have
hand.
you do,
Now
you
you
have
have it without the tongue, but this just enhances it like anything else. You have the power of the tonger in your hand to return home to yourself. And you know what yourself is a fractal of the entire damn thing. You have access to the infinite potentiality of the unified field. And the tongue is the simple reminder of that. That's it. That's as simple as that, friends. That's all you ever need.
but we can make them very beautiful tongues that have things like flux capacitors on them and the Millennium Run sort of printed on them. See, now I'm doing merchandising in my brain all day. So whomever in the comments has whatever resources are required for us to do that, please do hit us up on LinkedIn or wherever you can find us because hi, hello, fountain of ideas, and somebody needs to start taking them and running with them for me because there's too many. I can't catch them all. They just run away from me like little ghoulies. It's a mess. But I
You
have
should lasso them.
I said,
Lasso them. I mean, you live on the border of the American West. I think you can find a way to lasso them.
do you know what? I that is something that I would also like to take up is doing a like, I wanna learn how to lasso, I wanna learn how to hog tie, and I wanna take up archery. Because I think that those are somehow skills that I might be able to find a way to utilize in Tonger. I don't know exactly how yet, but the tongs is very magical, much like a magical wand. So I'm sure
I
I could
think
it
so.
helps you to learn how to, like, integrate all of those parts of yourself, right?
It
Right,
brings
that's
it home for you.
it brings it home. It is the I love the unified field. I could talk about the unified field all day long because it just makes me so very happy.
Yeah, it's the best because the unified field allows you to get into archery, but also be like a medieval British commander who just yells, "Archers!" And then really, I mean, let's be real. Like, if we're not doing that, why are we even arching?
What are we arching?
Why
Oh,
arch if not to have that command from that individual?
sorry, my brain just did another neurospicy thing. I don't know if you ever watched Venture Brothers, the weird animated cartoon, but like
That's not in my universe either.
that okay, well, it needs to be because arching is a thing that they do where, like, there's a guild of, like, arch villains and a guild of, like, the heroes, and you have to get, like, paired up like a temp agency basically to, like, who's your arch nemesis going to be kind of thing. The guild of calamitous intent decides who your arch nemesis is. We need to create something like this for Tonger. Tonger needs to have its own, like, guild of, like, okay, for those of you who wanna play the duality game of having, like, an arch nemesis and or having, like, an arch rival. We can pair people up with who's gonna, like, be the most different and argue the most, because we know that some people like that drama, and that's valid, and we'll let you have it. I think we need to do that.
I think we need to do it too because what that does is that allows us to channel this like aggression we have within this construct of duality into
Mhm.
Tonger. That's one of the great magics of Tonger.
Oh, I love that very much. That's very
Channel. It's like the
exciting.
competitive duality, like, well, you're separate from me, therefore I gotta beat you. Fine, cool. You wanna run with that, you run with that. This is how you run with that.
This is how you run with that, and keep trying to run with that in any kind of serious manner when somebody starts to play a 10 decibel fart as the music that you get to run up to the Tonger board.
Real talk. You point to one conflict that's raging on this planet right now that cannot be solved over a game of Tonger. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'm not going anywhere.
Go ahead, convince us. Please get
I'm just
into the
saying.
comments.
Anybody in
Do
the comments?
I think I do really love that.
I'm not going. I mean, seriously, Haley's not going. We're not going anywhere. We'll be here. We'll
We're
address
not
it.
going anywhere. We
We're
are
not
happy
going
to
anywhere.
address any questions that you may have. I am so very excited for us to solve world peace with Tonger. And you know what? The Nobel Peace Prize medallions that we get, they're not nearly as beautiful as the World Tonger Federation family seal that we get to wear with pride.
Yes, which you can all see on your screens on the upper right-hand side.
And I have to say, I love that the Tongers that are holding the little Tonger balls also double as looking a little bit like they are, hot air balloons. I enjoy that. There's a circus element to that that I find very fun and on brand for us, so yay that.
Anything that has a circus element of all is fantastic. Anything involving clowns. I mean, Shakes. Have you seen Shakes the
Yeah.
Clown? I think the greatest movie ever made.
No, I don't I must see
Never.
that now. I have to put that on the list.
Come into my universe. It's about violent alcoholic clowns,
Fine, I'll go okay.
and it's made in 1991, and that is the entire premise of the movie. It is Bobcat
Shakes
Goldthwait, so you know it's going to
Oh,
be great. He's the
it's
star of the show.
how do I not know about that? Oh, Bobcat, what a beautiful, wonderful human soul. I must go
Yes,
watch that. That sounds marvelous.
it has no plot at all. Except that they're just following the hijinks of early 90s depressed alcoholic violent clowns who also have one great scene where they assault mimes. So
Oh,
there's that.
and there's a mime clown feud. Oh, we
There is.
need some Tonger teams. Oh my gosh, we do need Tonger teams like that, like very spy versus spy sort of Tonger
It's
teams.
not like a Tonger mime situation and just yeah, that I mean,
Can you imagine? I'm like, now my brain, I go to like, my brain's doing the crow, like that mime. I hate that when they do that walking against the wind shit. Like, can you please do a walking against the wind, throwing the Tonger ball against the wind mime as you go up there? Oh, please do. I would enjoy it so very much.
Mimes are the absolute bane of my existence, and they have been since I was very young. I'm just saying.
Is
From
there a
having them
story there
try
that
my
we get to dig into? Like, oh, hot goss, Tonger hot goss. Do we get to segue into our Tonger hot goss?
yeah, 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 we do. Yeah, we do. Let's
Childhood
go.
stories. Tell. How did it happen?
Well, I was a young kid. My name was Jean-François, and it was in France, and it was in
Okay.
1847, and that's where this whole thing came about, and there were street mimes there,
Okay.
and
I'm with
they were
you.
they had, like, the face paint, and they had the striped shirts and the
The
suspenders and
stripy
the whole
stuff, the gloves.
doing the whole deal, and of course, there was no sanitation, so, like, it just made things even worse, and there was a lot of that going on, so,
Yeah, yeah.
here I am, this young child of, maybe 9 or 10 years old, I don't remember exactly, but my name is Jean-François, I do know that. And then these mimes come out there and they just create a circle around me, and they're creating this, like, box that I'm in, but it really terrifies me because they're putting on a show, but I think it's real. So what do? I whistle for some clowns to show up on unicycles, and then
Oh.
melee breaks out, but the mimes win, and
Oh,
this terrified
no.
me even more, like, that was my last salvation, and now they were dispensed of. Now I had nothing,
Th
nothing. Very scary for a child to be in. I'm
that
just
is a
saying. The mimes
harrowing
win,
tale.
it's really bad. It's like when you're a child in, like, a Han Chinese village and the Mongols come and the Mongols win, you're like, "Wow, now it's just me and a bunch of Mongols. This is scary. Like, what
Like,
now?"
this is awful, and I don't speak their language. How are we
Yeah.
supposed to communicate?
This
Like,
is this is bad.
I can't communicate with a mime. I
And
mean, come on now.
they're gonna
I
draft me into, like, mime school now.
We are writers. Use your words. We can't deal with that. What are you No. Ugh.
I tried this and I tried then, I tried, but
But you
apparently I
were just
insulted one
stuck
of their
in it.
grandmothers because I did this a little bit too high, and that was really not received well, so,
How
you know.
dare you? And, you don't insult a French mime's mother, you do not do that. Mm-mm.
No, you don't, especially one from Toulouse.
Oh, no, you do not do that.
Really
You
not well
get
received.
beaten with a baguette in very short order.
I was beaten by several baguettes in very short order.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's terrible. Well,
It's just how it goes. What are you gonna do? This is 1840s France. It's just how it was.
that's just how things were. No,
Yeah.
I understand, it's okay. All can be resolved in the Tongerverse.
Yeah,
So
1840s France,
you get
2024
to,
tropical.
have a wonderful, like, hero's journey sort of story where you become, like, the best Tonger player and you somehow find a portal into the 2024 time zone, and you are able to, like, join us at the World Tonger Tournament in 2024, and you are a champion in your own time and in this time-space reality. How very exciting for you.
It's very exciting because if you come to the World Tonger Tournament in 2024, you will skip timelines, and this is real. This is proven. This is like where the people who are not quantum physicists say this is quantum physics. That's the fun part, isn't it? I
No,
love
yes,
it.
it really is. This is the way that we get to have quantum physics experiments without having access to the CERN laboratory, because I really don't think there's anyone that should give the fire starter, like, arsonist version of me access to being able to, like, smash atoms into each other. That's very The devilish little pixie in me just loves destruction so much because the noise is so fun. So
Fun.
it's
It is
so
fun.
it is fun, but that's why we have to do the experiment this way, because there's no one in their right mind who should give me access to any kind of quantum physics experiment equipment, no matter how much I say I want it.
But you've got it, right?
But I've got it. I
Because
need
kitchen tongs.
I need some, like, rainbow shiny metal kitchen tongs that are just loud and obnoxious and ridiculous. But I need them to have the little flippy rubber cover things for the grip, because I'm gonna be super bad at the drop in the tonger ball all the time, because I'm gonna be laughing too hard and I'm not gonna be able to keep my shit together. So,
Yeah, the
everyone
rubber
needs to be
grips.
aware. Yes, that is a tonger gear recommendation. We suggest tongs that have the rubber grips. Do we have any other gear suggestions? Bowling shoes versus, like, Brooks running shoes?
I would say bowling shoes would be preferable because this is gonna be on any surface, but bowling shoe and I would say bowling shoes that are freshly sprayed. Very important.
Very important,
Very important.
on the playlist that I would have for interrupting everyone would be whatever would be the dude's favorite bowling sounds, like ASMR that he's listening to, 1984 bowling championships or whatever it is. That's definitely going to be on a playlist, so I hope that you are not terribly distracted by the sound of a bunch of bowling pins smashing at the end of the lane.
I'm not. As a former bowler, I am
As
definitely not, but I
a
am
former bowler and a former wrestling manager. Can we also that multiverse just a little bit? We do have some other hot
no.
goss too, but we'll get there. But like,
Yeah.
because I think this again, it fits, it's on brand. Wrestling manager, tell us more.
Oh, yeah. So there was a league we had back in New York in the late '90s, early 2000s. It was called the XRWA. It was the Extreme Real Wrestling Association. Like
I
most
like to
people,
I do kind of love that you were the manager at Extreme Real even and here we are now in the, like, there is no such thing as reality and how much more fun is that? But let's go ahead and be
at
extreme
all.
sometimes in the real when we feel like it.
It was extreme, and it was inspired by the idea that we're young, we have pliable bodies that can take a lot of punishment. So
That's
we
what
have to
we
dish that punishment out in the guise of great characters and music and storylines.
and as well you should because, go ahead and use that time, I guess, like, we all think that we can have you know what? We can have forever being young and pliable, I like that. Like, we all
Yeah.
bounce, right?
Yeah, we bounce. That's what we do. We bounce. Like, it would actually be more funny if it broke out like at the villages in Florida and a bunch of 78-year-olds were doing it because they had like the ambulance on standby. That'd be awesome. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like to see like a
I mean,
like an
listen,
indie wrestling fed at the villages would be
if
tremendous.
if Mae West could be keeping up and keeping at it as long as she I mean, come on now. It would be so great. Like, there could be an entire
Sure.
wrestling league of retired Floridians. That would be I mean, I can't wait to see the Tonger teams that they come up with. They're going to be magnificent.
And the Tonger gear, not the
There's there
retirement leagues.
there we
Oh,
go.
boy. So this is my official Tonger hat, and this is for my character called Florida Man. And
Florida
every Tonger
man.
game is crazier than the next, and this is just how we do it. This is just how we roll. I am just Florida Man forever in the Tongerian Empire. So
Florida
be
man
fun.
in the Tongerian Empire is wearing a necklace, like, not of teeth and bones, but of, again, the miniature tongs and puka shell.
Yeah, maybe like a gator tooth in there, just cause.
Just cause you had to wrestle one at that one tonger. Oh, I almost forgot about that when you almost lost your tongs to that gator down in Florida. That was
Yeah,
a
we fought to the death over
watch.
it. Like it was me or him. It was very binary at that point. Like
But
Tonger
listen,
believes in the idea that we all win, except in that situation.
except in that situation, and listen, we are not wasteful people. You made the most beautiful boots out of that gator, and good for you.
And the most beautiful
If
dish. I gotta say, a lot of people won. If you've never had blackened gator, my friends, you are missing out. Let me tell you,
you
that
are
is a delectable plate.
absolutely missing out, and it goes so very well with caviar, I have to say.
It does. Yeah, especially people
There's
think it's a Louisiana thing. No, no, no.
there's no reason you can't mix Cajun and fancy highfalutin stuff. There's no reason whatsoever you can't do that.
The Cajuns were originally French, so this idea that they're like, yeah, these swampy people, what?
Right?
Come on now.
That is completely opposite of the crew. It's okay, you know what? We'll let all of their team rivalries go ahead and settle those things. Please do settle this in the comments, folks. That's the
Yeah.
place where you need to do this. Speaking
Speaking
of
of team
settling,
rivalry,
yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
hot goss, y'all, at the World Tonger Championships in 2024. You are going to see, and I know you're all just on the edge of your seats. Cthulhu and Poseidon will finally settle their millennia-long feud at the World Tonger Championships. And I do love this because it's very sort of wrestling where you like, I'm so mad at you, I'm gonna fight you next month. You
Call
better
out
be
spot.
ready.
I love a call out spot, especially a multi-dimensional call out spot.
Oh, I'm so very excited. I'm okay. Here we go, though. Also, the fan base. First of all, rooting for Cthulhu, right here. Sorry, taking sides, rooting for Cthulhu.
Why?
De-
Why? I think this needs to be explained here. I don't think you just get to drop that "I'm rooting for Cthulhu" bomb and just move on to the next thing.
Poseidon is far too humanoid for me to be rooting for. Cthulhu has the dragon wings. Cthulhu's got so many wonderful, magnificent elements of my reptilian friends. There's no reason for me not to be rooting for my boy Cthulhu. Like I
Sorry,
got
keep aside.
right? Love it, like, HP Lovecraft, I am in another life HP Lovecraft, and so, like, how can I not? For my boy. I have to root for my boy.
That's
But
fair. We're gonna get
I
a
was
lot of
like,
hate
"Well,
mail for this. I'm just saying, like, we're gonna a lot of and
we
that's gonna be good for engagement, but it's
it's
gonna
gonna
get
be."
a lot of hate.
Listen, my dad always used to say, "All publicity is if free publicity is good publicity, and all publicity is good publicity, so use it when you can." Thank you very much, dad.
A lot of
But
Cthulhu haters out there, I'm just saying. There's a
there
lot.
are, and there is a really big so this is a fun thing that we're going to have to follow in the fandom. There is a huge feud between the fandoms of Cthulhu and Poseidon. They are having an argument about whose name is more difficult to spell without the aid of Google.
Ooh, this sounds like something that came straight from Redditors.
This came straight from my brain this morning, and I would like to also just so you understand how some of my little consciousness game is going for the rest of the entirety of the eternity of the Tongerverse that we have now decided to rule. So excited about it. So this morning, in preparation for our pilot episode of this very long-standing podcast, I am so excited for our 1600th episode anniversary. It was a great party. But I
Yes,
was
it
I was
really
talking.
was.
It really was. It was the best Tongerian 1600 anniversary, and we had a medieval feast. Pigs on spits. It was
Turkey
beautiful.
leg this big. Yeah.
100%. And I do believe a couple people started fighting with the turkey legs and jousting, but that was okay
Well,
because the
that
dogs
to
love
me
to
was a
pick
good
up the.
time.
I mean, the dogs love to pick up the scraps off the floor, and it's definitely helpful for the cleaning staff. So everything worked out fine.
They were wolf dogs too. You're like
They
the good
are.
kind. Yeah.
The good kind, the kinds
Yeah.
that'll lick your face and play fetch and go get that Frisbee and not destroy it.
Not
The
knocking the corgi people, but I'm just saying the wolf dogs are where it's at. So
my dog is a Jack Russell Corgi mix, but more of the
hilarious.
Jack Russell, I think, but so because you can't, rely on, like we can't go to Chat GPT and ask to come up with, podcast topics for Tonger because Chat GPT is obviously limited by human linear time, and that just doesn't fit into the Tongerverse.
It doesn't.
So
No.
instead, I was going around Clubhouse trying to talk to my own brain, right? My own internal internet, the unified field multiverse, and saying things like, "Okay, command prompt, suggest Tonger topics for podcast today." And things did come up, which was really lovely. So I would just like everyone also to know that you have your own chat GPT you can talk to. It is 100% much more creative than any of the human linear chat GPTs. Not that I'm knocking AI tools because AI is also very much a thing that I'm very excited about in this world.
It will be great once it taps into the multiverse potentiality. Once it gets out of this linear, like, well, that happened and now this is happening and then that will happen. And but once it breaks out of that and like, ah, boy, it's all at once.
I am
It all
so
happens.
excited for that, and I am so excited for Hanson Robotics and Boston Dynamics to have Tonger teams of their own robotic dogs and, like, humanoid robots that are, competing. They're definitely rivals, right? I'm excited
Oh,
for
big
that.
time. Well, you have like the Boston Dynamic dogs, and then of course the Black Mirror dogs.
You
And
have Yes.
like,
Oh, I just can't wait to meet all of the AI robots, the sort of the escaped ex machina AI robots that are there, and, oh, they do the most fun cheerleading routines. I do love it. I was a cheerleader in high school. There's another one of the multiverse versions of me. I do so enjoy seeing robots do cheers. It's great.
it really is. Now, especially when the robots can like do the flips and then they'll throw the Tonger ball from the flip because they're gonna be doing stuff that we can't do in these meat suits. It's
Well,
gonna be like Tonger 2.0. It's gonna be like the most it already
the
is.
brilliant thing about Tonger, though, is that we're equally entertaining, and that means that we're all equally winners, which is so very exciting.
We all and that we're gonna talk about that. So how does everybody win in Tonger? Now here's the cool thing.
How
People think
do
in
you win?
binary, like mm-mm.
Win, loss, who comes out on top, who goes home crying.
So here's how it all works, friends. You know, obviously it starts with the center of the entire universe.
The center of the yes.
And then, of course, we have our accessories back there. But at the end of the day, so much more than that. So much more than that, because the way you funnel yourself into a win. Now, yeah, you throw the Tonga balls, and if you drop them, you get disqualified, and then you add up the points and everything. But that's not where the game ends. Now, this is where other games end. You look at the scoreboard at the end, and you have a presumptive winner. Not in Tonga. There are 10 more layers to determine the winner. The first thing you have to do
10
is
more
say, do
layers.
both teams agree on the winner? And if the loser does not agree on the winner, then you can challenge. Now, a lot of people think, well, it's just kind of like Game of Thrones challenge. You get like a champion to go fight in the ring. Kind of.
Ooh.
A
I
champion's
vote
a random person.
has to be a random person. I cannot have Cthulhu be my mountain champion.
No, no, no.
No, I
There's no
cannot.
way that's happening. There's no Cthulhu. I'm not getting Poseidon. We're not dragging them into our beef here. We already done
No.
that enough. It's not happening. You find a random person on the street and you ask them a trivia question that both teams agreed to beforehand. Now, if the
Oh, I
person wins, you get a rematch, but you start 50 points ahead this time.
oh, and that's so very exciting. Oh, that's fun. That could go on forever.
It
That's a
does.
it does. It's the
It does.
Tonger that goes on, my friend. That's
Tonger is a
excited.
microcosm for all of reality. It destroys the idea of winners and losers, you versus me, a beginning or an end. It destroys duality. The quantum field, the singularity exists within Tonger and Tonger exists within it. They are one and the same. Tonger goes on and on forever. It plays the game and it comes back. It expands and it contracts. It expands, it contracts. It's the in-breath and
Breathe
the
in,
out-breath
breathe out. That's right.
of all that is encapsulated within Tonger. To understand Tonger is to understand reality. To
Oh,
understand reality is to understand Tonger.
it's just so very much fun. And all with so much wonderful soundtrack music. I mean, please do. Someone play me the Sound of Music. Someone get me some Busby Berkeley going on. Like, let's rock and roll. I am so very thrilled.
Someone play me the theme from Different Strokes.
Let's
Do it.
do.
Let's do it.
Oh,
Let's
I
seriously do it.
I'm also going to play some of my favorite, like, movie lines. That's definitely gonna be a playlist. Like, Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off screaming in his car is absolutely going to be on my playlist as well. That's highly important.
He'll keep calling me.
You keep calling me till I come over.
There's
Yeah, the screaming and honking the horn is my favorite part. And that's I think
like
that's
a line too.
Love it. Oh my god, that's so perfect.
Oh,
Oh,
I
the
have a
movie
Tonger
line.
playlist here. Actually, I'm pulling up.
Oh, do yes. What's on your
I
Tonger?
literally have it. I'm just gonna start firing some up close enough to the mic so you can all hear it.
No, I am
And
very excited about this, and also I think that we need to have guests on, we need to have Tonger team guests on, and they can, like, share some of their, like, playlist curation secrets or, like, how do they get inspired to put together their playlists. I can't wait to interview all of them. It's so exciting.
you ready?
I'm ready. What do we got? Yeah. Oh, that goes so very perfectly with your Florida man hat.
Wouldn't it though? I mean, like, there's how do
It
we have
real
Tonger without a Scatman? We don't. So we just
You
don't?
don't.
No,
You have to
no.
have
Okay.
Scatman. Okay, I see your Scatman, and I would like well, I'd have to go pull it up on my phone, sorry, now there's multiple songs coming up in my head that I know I'm channeling from my
Oh, no,
dad
we're
because
good. We're good.
he's so
You ready for
very excited about it.
you ready
Bertha
for the next
Butt
one?
Boogie has to also be on a playlist.
It does.
It
Now,
does.
this is the one this was played in the blood match last week between the Omaha Ribeyes and the Long Island Bagels.
Yeah.
And this was the song, this was the music that won it for the Bagels.
For the bagels, oh. Oh, I can't hear it. No, it's I can't hear it, but tell me the song,
Mm.
tell me.
It is the theme from the Police Academy Blue Oyster Bar.
No, I love and we also need some Blue Oyster Cult. Can we also please we need Don't Fear the Reaper. You know that that's gonna have to be on one of my
Oh, yeah.
playlists, 100%.
Absolutely. And of
Mhm.
course, we had the winning sound, and this is what caused the final Omaha ball drop. And I ain't talking about the one when the kid
I
turned
was
13. I'm talking about the one that won the game.
I was rooting for the Omaha Ribeyes too. We'll be waiting for you. And
Yeah, there it
because
was.
you can't not dance around to that. Now, here's another question that I do have. What sort of interferences are permissible in Tonger?
Nothing,
And also
everything. Hmm, go on.
okay, Interferences, music-wise, are allowed.
Mhm.
Collaborations, creative collaborations where you might bop over and help out another team because you're feeling like you wanna be a helper instead of a competitor because that's allowed. You can play that game if you want
You
to.
can be a traitor to your own team within the game. That is not only acceptable, it's
Oh,
encouraged.
that's the spy versus spy stuff that I'm talking about. I will
And
bebop my multiple personalities will bebop all over the place and be helping out other teams. Oh, because we can't help ourselves. Sorry.
and you can donate your points to the other team, should you so decide. At any given point in the game, you can just donate your points to the other team and you become an agent for the other team immediately. And you don't have to have an equal exchange. You can just do it.
I love it. I think that's magnificent. Oh,
Absolutely.
and we had such a lovely, lovely time when the, Germans and the Japanese, right, just after World War II at that Tonger tournament, they donated each other their points. They just swapped points. It was just such a beautiful little moment. It's like when all
Uh,
the guys came up out of the trenches and were singing Christmas songs, man, it was just a beautiful moment, we all cried. It was great.
oh yeah. Oh my God. I mean, when you had a bunch of Japanese soldiers on all the Pacific Islands, after the order for surrender was given and they were going to be repatriated back home, when they got up and started singing One More Sleep by Leona Lewis, I knew right then and there we were coming into a beautiful era. That was it.
Oh, what a beautiful moment, and I do think that we saw some very, Phoenix Lights-esque lights in the sky at the time, which was also very exciting, and of course, we had a lot of people that, attributed them to swamp gas and various other things, but we all know who it was.
Think we know it was the Tongarians that were coming in.
Mm.
They muscled out the Pleiadians and they
Every
muscled out the Arcturians and they muscled.
and that's how humanity won.
That's how we won.
That's
It's
how
how we
we
won the whole story.
we won it with Tonger, and now all of our friends, all of our cosmic friends are here to play Tonger with us because they said, "Well, if we can't beat them, join them." And we said, "Yes, that's the whole
It's as
point.
simple as that. It's the
That's
whole
the whole
point.
point
Can't
of
beat
it."
them, join them. You join them, and then if you join them again, and the game just
On and on
continues
and
in
on, and
perpetuity.
in a perpetuity of all kinds of beautiful, wonderful, ridiculous sound playlists that we have in our Tonger games. I love it so very much.
Yes, and most others would ask, they would ask the wrong question. I would repose it to them in the inverse. They would ask, "What is the point of the game?" And I would say, "The game is the point.
The game is the point because that's why we
The
came
game is the
here,
point
for the game. We came here to play.
for the
We
game.
came here to have fun.
The whole thing is a
The
game,
whole thing is the game, and that's the
and there's no point.
and there's no point. And
There's no point to it. There's no point to anything.
there's I you know what, but that is my very favorite part of all of it is that there's no point because I
There's no
don't
point.
because structure and rules have never been for me, and I like to blame that on my Sagittarius zodiac sign, but, like, let's be honest, it's just because I've always known that I'm a quantum multidimensional being, no matter what anybody else told me.
Who would tell you otherwise? A lot of people would tell you otherwise,
A
actually.
lot of people would tell you otherwise, but that's okay because they will watch the Tonger tournaments and they will learn the magical ways of Tonger.
They will learn and they will
It's a
understand.
very sort of Jedi practice, right?
It
Oh,
is, and you could show up in a Jedi robe to a Tonga tournament too. That's allowed and encouraged.
allowed and oh my gosh, the LARPing teams that we have for Tonger, they are just magnificent. The costumes they come up with. Oh, San Diego Comic-Con's got nothing on a Tonger tournament. I tell you what.
No, and the Sith team is going to show up too, but they're going to get smoked because they don't understand like the core rule of the game because they think in black and white. They think in very binary terms. They think us versus them. They think in
I
terms of
mean,
power. We win the game, but you can't win the game.
they
You can't win.
contracted out to a bunch of accountants to make their playlists. I mean, what were they thinking?
I have no idea. It's
I
brutal.
wow. It is. It's rough, but that's okay because, we love to see it when they believe so much in their silly little algorithm chosen playlists, and they are just so woefully defeated
Can't.
by the Barbie team of Santa Monica.
That's a good team. It's a really good team. Like I'm glad they got a shout out, and I'm glad you brought them up because I'll be honest with you, like yeah, the Barbie team of Santa Cruz is all right. And I thought they were going to be pretty stronger in the California Coastal Tournament, but then like that Santa Monica team of Barbies just showed up and just smoked them.
Just
And then like the
smoked
game
them.
kept going around and around like with sub Barbie of Santa Monica teams. which then reintegrated the Santa Cruz team back into them, like they became hybrid teams. So even Santa Cruz didn't
Oh,
win. It was tough.
nobody does hybrid collaborations like the Barbies in California do it. I mean, they are just so on top of it, and the makeovers that they do for the other teams while they're playing, I mean, can we praise the skill it takes to play Tonger and give makeovers at the same time? I
It's pretty
mean,
amazing.
it is amazing. They did wonders for RuPaul's hair. It was fantastic.
RuPaul needs some, I mean, all right, let me rephrase. RuPaul needs nothing.
RuPaul
RuPaul
needs nothing.
RuPaul has never needed anything,
Never, and bless,
ever.
bless, bless.
Yeah, I checked myself on that one. Like, I was about to go on a whole, like, no, who am I to tell RuPaul what RuPaul needs?
RuPaul's been playing like 7D Tonger for a millennia already, and mad respect to the game, right?
Absolutely. What Tongerian message would you give to those who happen to be watching us on LinkedIn of all channels today? And like, well, what's happening here? I'm confused. This is not a normal thing. This is weird. It doesn't compute. How does this relate to what a recruiter is going to get back to me on regarding my resume? How does this relate to my personal brand? What can Tonger do for me in my third density consciousness?
In your third density consciousness, Tonger can give you some magnificent entertainment, some feel good feels, and the feel good feels will bring you wonderful magical synchronicities in your life that you can follow all the way up from the fourth density bridge into fifth dimensional consciousness, where you get to just party all night long with us Tonger folks. And let me tell you what, it's the place to be. You don't want to be working on that resume. You absolutely want to be at a Tonger tournament. I promise you that's true. And we absolutely can figure out a way for you to profit and manifest wonderful wealth for yourself. We are all doing it once, here together as a community. And that is exactly the point, that we are creating this new, wonderful, magnificent community of creative people who know that we have come here for the fun of this human experience and not for the things you can check off of the to-do boxes and the accomplishment boxes and the income boxes and the whatever boxes. We have no boxes in Tongers.
No
There are
box.
no
The box that brings the Tonger equipment to the venue. That is the one box we give an allowance for.
That is the one box you give an allowance for, and actually, we give some brownie points if you decorate it up really pretty, and I remember who was the team that had the pretty, pretty baskets? They had
Oh, that was the El Paso green chilies.
Yeah. Oh, and they
Yeah.
wove those themselves, and and they were helping everybody else, like, learn how to do little basket weaving projects. It was such a fun little
Yes.
time. Man, that was
Mhm.
the longest
Yep.
Tonga tournament because we did some DIY crafts in the middle of it, but it was worth it.
I mean, it's from a part of the world that has like great Pueblo stuff. You're talking hundreds and hundreds of years back, and it's all woven in. It's really, really cool.
You can't not just get some hands-on arts and crafts DIY stuff in. I mean, if you're gonna be hanging out with those ladies, you have to bask in that creativity when they share it with you. It's a wonderful thing.
You do. Now they got a blood rival team. It's the Albuquerque Greener Chilies. I mean, that is
Greener chilies.
our Greener Chilies are a badass team. I'm not gonna
And,
lie. They are no joke.
but let me tell you what, I love all the fan comments when they're going back and forth and fighting about, like, screen resolutions and how the
Mhm.
greens don't come up the same way when you're, like, digital online as it does in person. And then you have all of the optometrists who are talking about how people's eyes see colors differently. I just so enjoy it when they argue back and forth about that which one is the greener chilies.
Yep.
It's my favoritist.
I do too. Remember we had we had the green chili accords back in 2005, and we had to finally broker a truce. And like they can only play in Las Cruces. Had to be a neutral site. They don't travel to each other's cities anymore. That's fine. I respect it. I understand it. There's security considerations here. So, but Las
Well, and you
Cruces,
know what? They have to
shout
continue
out.
some of that duality so that we can, like, keep building that bridge from the third dimensional to the five dimensional, right? And so,
You
like,
have to.
a little bit of you need that duality rubber band in there just a little bit to kinda help people along. So we appreciate them for providing that to the Tongerverse.
And can we say duality is not a dirty word? We can have some fun with it. I think there's a lot of
Duality
in the
is
room crowd. Duality. It's like, that's fun. It's a game. It's like saying, look at that. There's Mario and Luigi, but they're really part of the same pixelated. I know, but like, it's
like,
fun to be
it's
Mario and Luigi. Like, that's the
it's
point.
fun to be Princess Peach when I wanna be, and it's fun to turn around and be Koopa when I wanna be.
Yes, it
I
is.
I get to be the villain when I wanna be. I get to have that there's come on, I love that. Duality is not a dirty word. Why
Not a
did we
dirty
come
word
why did we come up with a game that had duality in it if it was so bad?
because it's there to play.
Because
And
it's an
friend,
option on the
on that
table. On that note,
that
thank
note.
you everyone for joining us for this episode of the World Tonger Federation News and Gossip. Please do mention in the comments anything that you think we may have missed from the multiverse that is of note. We'd be happy to talk about it on the next episode.
Which will not be scheduled. Every one of these will be a pop-up. So, because that is what Tonger is, because scheduling is a I'm gonna
Scheduling
use a
is a
dirty
third
word
dimension.
here.
No. Scheduling is a third dimensional construct, and we are removing ourselves from that. And so, thank you very much, everyone, for following this flow of consciousness because that is where Tonger belongs.
That is it. And for the World Tonger Federation, that's Geoff. I'm Haleigh. It's been real.
It's been fake. Thanks again for joining us, Tongerian friends and neighbors. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and start your own Tonger team feuds in the comments. Check out the links in the description to find more ways you can support the Tongerian Empire. And until next time, stay wild and fun, Tongerian fam. We will catch you in another now.